Hey, good afternoon, church family. Just checking with you guys. I hope you're doing well. I want you to know that I miss you guys. I love you guys. I'm looking forward to the time that we're going to be able to meet back together again. Just know that I've been praying for you. A lot of people at the church have been praying for you guys, and we want to continue doing that. So reach out to me, reach out to Teresa. If there's any way we can be praying for you, we want to do that. So just let us know. This week, as we're doing our devotionals, we're working up towards Easter. This last week was Palm Sunday. We didn't really mention that during the service, but it was, and now we're working up towards Easter Sunday, this celebration of Jesus's death and resurrection. So this week, the devotionals we're bringing for you guys, we wanted to bring you a few of them, all based on 1 Corinthians chapter 15, and we're going to look at what the resurrection really means. And so let me read for you 1 Corinthians 15, just verses 1 through 8. Now, I want to make clear for you, brothers and sisters, the gospel I preached to you, which you received, on which you have taken your stand, and by which you are being saved, if you hold to the message I preached to you, unless you believed in vain. For I passed on to you as most important what I also received, that Christ died for our sins according to the Scriptures, that he was buried, that he was raised on the third day according to the Scriptures, and that he appeared to Cephas, then to the 12, then he appeared to over 500 brothers and sisters at one time. Most of them are still alive, but some have fallen asleep. Then he appeared to James, then to all the apostles. Last of all, as to one born at the wrong time, he also appeared to me. Now, what Paul is passing on to the Corinthians, he's trying to straighten out for them what it means to believe the gospel. And I hope what was clear in that passage is that it is absolutely necessary to believe that Jesus really did die. He was on the cross and he died and he was buried. And then he really did rise from the dead. Now, you may be thinking, of course that's true. Right? Who doesn't believe that? But let me ask you, does it really matter for your understanding of the gospel whether or not the Old Testament exists or whether or not Jesus ever really was resurrected? Right? Because the gospel is very simple, but the gospel is also very deep. And so if you think to yourself what the gospel is all about, and you think that the gospel is more or less this, right? That God told us we need to follow a certain set of rules, and we couldn't. We weren't able to follow those rules. But luckily, this guy Jesus came along, and he was able to follow all the rules. And since he was a good person, he took the punishment we deserved. Now, since he took that punishment, now we can be credited as if we never broke those rules. And now when we die, we can go live with God in heaven. Right? That doesn't sound like such a bad understanding of the gospel, right? But think about it a little more. That understanding of the gospel, it doesn't matter at all whether or not the Old Testament exists. It doesn't matter if Israel and everything they went through existed. Right? But Paul says that's wrong. Right? Did you catch those things there as I was reading? Jesus died for our sins according to the Scriptures, right? And he was raised again on the third day according to the Scriptures, right? What Paul is saying is it matters what happened in the Old Testament. Right? Those are the Scriptures he's talking about. Everything that Israel went through, that matters. So that context that Jesus steps into matters. But more than that, his resurrection matters. But it didn't necessarily matter in that hypothetical gospel I told you, right? Because as long as Jesus was a good person and he died on your behalf, well, then now you can be counted as righteous. And so does it really matter if Jesus was raised from the dead or not? Right? Paul says that it does. In fact, that's what he spent most of those 8 verses talking about. So yeah, he really did die, and then he really was raised, and this person saw him, and this person saw him, and this whole group of people saw him, hundreds of people saw him, and then I saw him. Right? We all saw him. We know that he really was raised. And so it matters. And so that's just a little teaser. I hope that you tune back in in the next couple days as we look more at the rest of chapter 15, looking at why Paul says it matters so much, this resurrection. Okay, so let me encourage you, if you have time today, this week, read through 1 Corinthians chapter 15. And then tune back in with us each day as we reflect on the importance of the resurrection and why it matters. And then, of course, join us on Sunday back here online for our Easter service as we celebrate Easter and how Easter changes everything. And so I hope you make plans to join us as we celebrate Easter all week long. And remember, always reach out to me. I'm just a phone call away. Love you guys. Have a good rest of your day.